We're learning that Dallas officers shot and killed a man this week outside of Children's Medical Center. Sources telling us that he ran a business placing officers in off-duty jobs and was also part of the security detail for Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. That man, apparently using aliases, was able to become such a prominent figure in the public safety community.
This was a really bizarre story, so we have to talk about it. I know it happened a few days ago, but it's interesting that we haven't heard a lot from the mainstream news media about this story. Extremely bizarre. You mean to tell me that a sitting U.S. Congresswoman, someone who sits on the House Oversight Committee, the committee that's supposed to hold people accountable, had a convicted felon as her personal bodyguard? This wasn't a parking lot security guard. This wasn't someone that's checking IDs at a club. This is her primary security officer. The man standing next to her at campaign events, congressional functions in Washington, D.C., a man with 7 felony arrests, a man running a fake law enforcement business, a man who stole license plates off cars at a military recruiting office, and nobody checked? Nobody ran a background check? Did anyone Google this man? Let's get into it. So like I said, this happened last week. I think last Wednesday, March 12th, the Dallas Police Fugitive Unit was tracking a suspect with an active federal warrant.
These images of Mike King standing close to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett shows how trusted he was as part of her security detail while she's been in office and while on the campaign trail during her recent run for a U.S. Senate seat. Multiple law enforcement sources say King was the man shot and killed after a standoff with Dallas police SWAT officers on Wednesday night. Police say he was chased into a hospital parking garage where he barricaded himself inside a vehicle before he was forced out by tear gas and pulled a gun on officers.
It looks like the dude did not want to go back to jail. So at first, this seems like another fugitive on the run situation, tragic, but it's not unusual. But then when CBS News Texas dropped this bomb about this man, he was Jasmine Crockett's security guard. And his name wasn't Mike King, the alias that he was using. His name was something totally different, Mr. Robertson. He was 39 years old and he was a convicted felon. Robertson had 7 arrests for theft across Dallas, Duncanville, Irving, Dallas County between 2009 and 2012. Felony charges. He pleaded guilty to every single one and got probation ranging to 1 to 10 years. He never did real time. But here's where this gets really insane. Despite all that, this man was able to reinvent himself under the alias Mike King and build an entire business, a whole business called Off-Duty Police Services that placed real North Texas police officers in off-duty security gigs and land himself right next to the United States Congresswoman. A business called Off-Duty Police Service. You can't make this up. Before we continue on, if you like this type of content, hit the subscribe button, share, hype it up, all that good stuff as we push on to get to 200,000 subscribers. Appreciate all your support. Let's get back into it. He drove a replica undercover police vehicle. He used license plates stolen from cars parked outside a military recruiting office. He told actual police officers that he was a detective with the U.S. Capitol Police. Capitol Police, the people who protect Congress. That lie was so bold, so ridiculous that it triggered a federal investigation. And that federal investigation is what led to the warrant. And that warrant is what led to standoff. And with that standoff, led to his death. How does this happen? Mind you, Crockett, as of this recording, has not made any statement. Her team, no one. We have no idea what her thoughts are. She has not said anything. Maybe by the time this is published, maybe she'll have a statement, but right now there is no statement. So this is why I need everyone to pay attention here, because this isn't just about Robinson. This is about Jasmine Crockett and the people around her. This is about her staff, her team, her judgment. Members of Congress don't automatically get Secret Service protection unless they're in leadership. Most of them hire private security, and that's fine. But if you're spending campaign donor money, the money that people gave you because they believed in your mission, on a security contractor, you have the basic obligation to know who that person is. That's not really asking a lot. I think that's the bare minimum. CBS News Texas got some documents showing a person identified as Mike King received payments from Crockett for security services as recently as last year. One payment was for $340, but we don't know the full total because Crockett's office hasn't disclosed that. And there's plenty of proof that he was protecting Crockett. Many pictures that CBS News Texas put out that you see him standing right next to Crockett at public events and campaign stops during her Senate run. So this guy wasn't on the periphery. He was the main guy. So I have to ask, did anyone on Crockett's team run a background check on this man? Because a basic background check, the kind that you need to get a job at anywhere. Target would have flagged the 7 theft convictions in Dallas County. Did anyone verify that Mike King was actually a Capitol Police detective like he claimed? That would take one phone call. That's all it would take. One phone call to Capitol Police. Hey, do you have a detective by the name of Mike King? But apparently that call was never made. By the way, CBS News Texas reached out to Capitol Police to even ask Robertson was ever subjected to a background check. No response. Crockett's staff said they were waiting for more information before answering questions. Where have we heard that before? Now, if you've been following this channel, you already know that this is not the first time Crockett's judgment has come into question. We talked about the $75,000 spending spree on luxury hotels, first-class flights, designer everything, all funded by campaign donors.
Jasmine Crockett, she's a congresswoman from Houston. She's a lightning rod. Here's some attention on her spending spree. So $75,000 on, which is a big number. She spent $25,000 on luxury hotels and limo services and $50,000 on security services.
We even talked about the FEC complaint alleging that 56 straw donations from a 73-year-old retired man in Plano, Texas, who had no idea that his name was being used.
So I'm about to go to Randy Best's house, introduce myself, and just ask them straight up if they contributed to Jasmine's campaign, if they contributed that amount, and why they like her so much.
Someone drove up there, knocked on the door, and asked his wife a question. And his wife said they didn't know anything about that.
It's very peculiar that somebody up here would give that much money to a candidate in our district. Let's go find out. Let's see what happens. How do you do, ma'am?
No soliciting.
I'm not here. I'm not a solicitor. I'm attorney Sheldon Daniels.
Okay.
Is there a Randy Best who lives here?
That's my husband.
Yeah. I just want to verify, are you guys aware that you were charged over $16,000 last year? Yeah, I have a list of charges. I'm just here to verify that you guys know about this. $16,240 in political contributions to a candidate named Jasmine Crockett. Do you remember that at all? Does your husband remember that at all?
I don't know. He's on the road.
We also talked about how she claimed to take $0 from corporate PACs while the receipts show hundreds of thousands of dollars from telecom, big pharma, and big business. And now this, a convicted felon with stolen license plates and a fake identity was the person that she trusted with her life. And remember, just a couple of weeks before the primary, her security team was in the news for something else. An Atlantic reporter named Elaine Guthrie was physically removed from a Crockett campaign rally in Lubbock by armed guards. The reporter said Crockett's team described her as a white girl with a hat and a notepad and called her a top-notch hater. Armed guards escorted her to the side of the Texas County Road and left her there.
So you were just in Texas and you managed to get yourself kicked out of a Jasmine Crockett campaign event. Tell us what happened.
I was at a rally for Jasmine Crockett in Lubbock, West Texas. A woman came up to me and said, "Are you Elaine? Jasmine's team wants you to leave." And I said, "Why?" And she looked at her phone like someone had texted her what to say or had texted her something. She said, "Elaine's a top-notch hater. She will spin. She needs to leave."
Why are you a top-notch hater?
I don't know if I would call myself a top-notch hater. I've never thought of myself that way. I'm a little flattered, but I had written a profile of Jasmine Crockett that came out last summer that I think was pretty fair. Before that story had gone to publication, she had called me and said she heard the story was going to be bad. She was upset that I had reached out to some of her Democratic colleagues without telling her first. And she was revoking permissions and shutting down the profile, which, as we all know, is not how journalism works. I assumed she wasn't happy with it, but I assume that this is the basis for me being thrown out of the rally.
Crockett denied it happened and then suggested that the reporter had previously been sued, which the reporter said that was completely false. So the same security operation that was removing journalists from the campaign events was being run by a convicted felon using a fake name. Let that sit for a minute. This is the thing that really gets to me, but this is probably the reason why she's no longer going to be in politics, at least for right now. Jasmine Crockett is an attorney, a former criminal defense lawyer. She knows how the system works. She knows what a background check is. She knows what a conviction looks like. She knows what an alias means. She should have been the last person to get caught slipping like this. Now, she just lost the Senate primary to James Tallarico. She got 46% of the vote after running a campaign that multiple insiders described as disorganized. No campaign manager, no real ground game infrastructure, overconfidence and name recognition. And now, days after this loss, we found out that the guy that was standing next to her throughout the entire campaign was a wanted fugitive. Not a great ending. He was also promoting security jobs for the upcoming FIFA World Cup games in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at $90 an hour through his fake business. He was managing security teams at downtown Dallas hotels, at churches. The man built an entire empire on a lie, and Jasmine Crockett's operation was a part of that empire. Now, I'm not saying Jasmine Crockett knew Robinson's real identity. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Maybe her whole staff was fooled. That's the problem. If a convicted felon with 7 arrests, multiple aliases, and stolen license plates can walk into your operation and become the person closest to you at every single public event, what does that say about the people you have around you? What does that say about your vetting process? What does that say about your judgment? You can't sit on the oversight committee and you can't oversee your own team. You can't tell the American people that you fight for transparency and accountability while a wanted man is standing 3 feet behind you in every photo. The receipts don't lie, and the silence is real loud right now. Because like I said before, Crockett hasn't said a word, not a press release, not a tweet, not an Instagram live. For someone who always has something to say, her being this quiet speaks volumes. We will check to see if she has something to say. It'd be nice to have an interview where she can answer some questions about exactly what she knew and what she didn't know about the situation. And when that happens, we will review it. But let me know what you guys think about this situation. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.